Welcome to Finding Alara, a safe space where authors, artists and creatives share their world-building style and mindfulness tactics. Brought to you by Bushland Castle Productions, a micro-publisher with an author support platform that nurtures creative growth and storytelling excellence. Welcome to the Indie Author Book Fair Minisode series. All of these interviews were recorded as a live stream from the Indie Author Book Fair on the 30th of November 2025 in Bunbury. Each Minisode will have a live interview component with myself or Paul Vandermeer from Forest.chat, an interview the guest had with Chris Ilsley on the day, and an excerpt from one of their creative works, which may just inspire you to have a closer look at what is available in the indie book world. Feature guest 18 of 27 is Teena Raffa-Mulligan. Teena writes quirky and whimsical children's books, fun, flirty romances and contemporary women's fiction. She is the author of more than 20 books full of heart, gentle humour and hope for young readers. And her short fiction and poetry for children and adults has appeared in anthologies and magazines. Teena is passionate about the importance of storytelling in our lives and enjoys inspiring people of all ages to set out their own story adventure. The best place to buy Teena's books are from her website teenaraffa-mulligan.com, or you can also get them through Amazon. The direct links are in the show notes. We have done our best to clean up the audio for the interviews, but it was recorded live, so there is some noise from the crowd embedded within the files. I hope that this gives you a feel for what the energy was like on the day. I will return to your ears at the end to share my key takeaways and let you know who the next guest is going to be. I'm here with Teena Raffa-Mulligan, a fellow podcaster. She has a podcast called Not the Pot, which I really enjoy. So I'm going to talk to her today about her books, ways she got into her creative pathway and what she thinks about self-publishing. So how are you today to start with?
I'm great, thank you. There's quite a buzz here.
There is. There's so many more people than I anticipated. I think I'll need to sleep for 2 days after this.
I think you probably will.
So tell me a little bit about how you got onto the creative path and what inspired you to be such a prolific writer.
Oh my goodness, I have been a book lover and a story writer for as long as I can remember. As soon as I learned how to read, I was taken into other worlds and always knew that I wanted to be a writer. But at the time I was mad about ballet. And my big plan as a kid was that I was going to grow up, be a famous ballerina, travel around the world, and while I was dancing in all of these major theatres, I was going to write novels in the dressing room.
Wow.
But obviously the ballet dream fell by the wayside, but the writing dream didn't.
Did you still do a lot of ballet? Did you join a dance company or anything?
No, I gave up when I was 16. I realised I didn't have what it takes to be a professional dancer.
It's a hard choice, isn't it? And I'm sure that feeling of, being defeated and giving up on that dream has come through in some of your stories.
I think anyone who sets out on a creative path, no matter what it is going to experience a lot of doubts and rejections and upsets. So it takes a lot of resilience to actually realise any kind of creative dream. And for writing, it's another thing altogether, because not only do you have to go through that creative process of producing your stories, once you've done that wonderful part, then you've got to find people who want to read your stories and publish your stories. So that's a whole other ball game.
And you've been through publishers before as well, haven't you?
Yes.
Yep.
My first lot of books came out through traditional publishers. Took me about 10 years to get my first picture book published, and there was a 15-year gap after that for the next two, but then I was on my way. But in the past, I think about the past 10 or 15 years, I decided to start putting out some of my own titles, mainly because there's been so many changes in the publishing industry.
It's so fast, especially with the onset of e-books and the development of audiobooks, and it's changing all the time.
It is. And there's so many more possibilities to share your stories in different ways. Why not?
Exactly. So tell me what type of author you are.
Very difficult to put in a box.
Well, I see there's such a diverse range here. You've got some children's stories, we've got some children's books. We've got, this is a young adult, isn't it?
Yes,
Really and Me.
yes.
And then we've got some, is that a
Romance.
romance in the corner there?
Yes.
A Christmas romance. Yeah, I could buy it tomorrow after Christmas starts. Not allowed to buy Christmas books till the 1st of December. Hubby put his foot down.
So I guess really I write what I feel like writing and what stories want to be written at the time. I've got a background in journalism, so writing's been my business and my passion for as long as I can remember. And I think I would find it difficult to put myself into a box as one type of writer and not another. So my writing covers all ages for children's books, fiction and non-fiction, and my adult writing ranges from poetry, short fiction, short romances, and now women's fiction.
Wow. That's a lot going on. What's your ideal writing environment? And do you work on multiple books at once, or is it just you get this one down?
In the past, I was always writing on a lot of projects at once, but lately I don't do as much writing as I used to. I'm only working on one project at the moment, and I'm not writing full on. Sometimes a couple of weeks will go by and I won't even look at what I'm working on. Other times I'll do a bit every day just to stay in the story. So I don't have a set routine.
You don't have a set routine, you just do whatever you feel like.
Exactly.
That comes with maturity. Do you have any tips for people who are just starting out in this self-publishing journey?
Do your homework. Look into the best way to work that will suit you. Be aware of how much is involved if you're going to do it all on your own. Marketing is not the same as publishing, and you have a lot to learn. Also, if there isn't something you can do competently yourself, such as editing or cover design, pay professionals to do it, because there's a lot of competition out there and your book has to be the best quality it can be to stand up.
So when you first started in the industry over 20 years ago?
Actually 50 years ago.
Over 50 years ago, what sort of changes have you seen that's the most prominent for you?
The technology, because when I started writing I was using a typewriter and posting my submissions out by snail mail. So of course computers changed everything and I would not want to go back to using a typewriter again. And also email makes everything so accessible. There's no need to wait for a publisher to get back to you by mail. There's no need to try and find out where you have to post things. And also the other big change that's opened so many doors for me and a lot of other authors like me is print on demand, where we can publish our own books so quickly and they can reach an international market.
Yeah, the availability for your books is just, it's completely wide. You can buy books anywhere now, which you definitely couldn't do before.
No.
Do you still like to see your book in bookstores?
I do. I get a thrill if I go into a bookstore and see my books there. It doesn't happen all that often, but it is always a thrill. And I've never been game enough, though, to go up to the counter and say, "Hey, I'm the author. Would you like me to sign these copies for you?"
Oh, I've been watching all these videos on YouTube lately, and some of the authors, they just go in and do it. So
Yeah.
maybe that's what you need to do. Just go in and just sign a couple of books. Be a surprise for someone. You can video it and say, "Hey, look for this book in this store." Oh, no, don't tell them the store. Make it at random.
That's a good point.
Yeah. All right, well, we've run out of time. So thank you so much for talking to me today. Really appreciated the conversation and the chat beforehand. And I will send you all the details for Minisode when it comes out.
That'd be great. And thanks for chatting.
Have you finished building your story and you're not sure which pathway to choose for publishing? The Book Reality Experience is a publishing assistance service offering partnership publishing solutions to authors. We have different pathways available and we'll recommend what we think works best for you and your story. Check out our website at www.bookreality.com for more information. Together, let's turn your book dream into a reality.
As we continue to have a chat with authors from the Indie Book Festival in Bunbury, Teena Raffa-Mulligan is going to join us in a moment. She writes quirky and whimsical children's books, fun, flirty romances and contemporary women's fiction. Talk about variety being the spice of life. She's the author of more than 20 books full of heart, gentle humour and hope for young readers, and her short fiction and poetry for children and adults has appeared in anthologies and magazines. Teena is passionate about the importance of storytelling in our lives and enjoys inspiring people of all ages to set out on their own story adventure. It sounds to me, Teena, and I appreciate your time, that you will virtually go anywhere for a good story.
In my imagination, definitely.
In your imagination. So how much is in your imagination? I'm getting the impression that there's quite a bit in your imagination.
There certainly is, and there has been since I was a kid.
So you've always had a pretty wild... Were you one of these kids where people would go, oh, there's Teena off on her little flight of fantasy again?
I was the kid that the other cousins got impatient with because I was always reading a book and didn't play with them.
Oh, OK, you're a sit down and have a read rather than go out and play kind of girl.
Definitely.
Did that make you, in some people's minds, a bit of an oddball?
I don't know about oddball, but certainly there weren't a lot of kids like me who just wanted to read all day.
I'm looking at your list of books and there's some really interesting titles. You can be a writer picture book, Parramatta Rosie, the Apostrophe Posse, which I find quite interesting, the 50% Princess and Other Goodnight Reads, The Mum for the Jobs, Sleepy Socks and Sometimes Rhyme, and then we get to one that just really jumps out at me because it sticks out. It's different to all the others, or it appears to be by title. The UFO Effect. What am I missing here that I'm not seeing with the others?
You're not actually missing anything. Obviously, I have a similar style of writing for all of the books that I do.
Yep.
And people who know me would probably be able to identify aspects of me in all of them. But the UFO Effect, it's an alien encounter story.
Oh, okay.
It's about a couple of kids who discover some strange objects in a quarry not long after a neighbour has claimed he was traced by a flying saucer.
Oh, okay.
So that's where we get the UFO encounter part come into it.
So do the kids get scared about the UFO or are they more intrigued by the UFO?
They're intrigued. They actually start to change colour.
Oh, okay.
And it happens very soon after they start handling these strange objects. And the colour begins to spread from their toes up through their body. And it's kind of a dark mulberry colour.
Oh, okay.
And this complicates matters for Callum because his mum is one of these really watchful mums who doesn't let him go anywhere much.
What we might call in modern parlance a helicopter mum.
Exactly. And she's just been convinced to give him permission to go on his very first school camp.
Ah.
So if she finds out he's changing colour, she'll be whipping him off to the doctors, who will be whipping him off to the scientists, and so he's got to keep that secret.
So he realises that if Mum finds out, he's basically going to become a scientific experiment.
Exactly. And in the meantime, while they're changing colour, they come across a couple of young aliens whose spaceship has crashed because they took it without permission and took it on a joyride.
So you're talking about alien children who rebelliously stole a spaceship which they've now crashed in a galaxy far, far away.
That's right. So now...
Sounds like good old-fashioned alien fun to me.
Well, it is a fun story. There's lots of weird things happening in it. And I always enjoy with writing kids' stories like this, coming up with the weird and wonderful things that can happen.
Is that how you keep kids' attention? Because whenever you speak to anyone who talks about any form of entertainment for children, they will tell you the number one issue is keeping them focused. So they'll continue to, in this case, read the book. Is the twists and turns, like, for example, well, these are actual alien kids who are going to be in trouble with their own folks because they pinched a spaceship. Is that the kind of thing you think that genuinely keeps them interested?
I think certain kids will be interested in it. Of course, all kids are different. They all have their interests. But I think the idea of creatures from another world fascinates most of us.
Yeah, we all seem to like that idea, don't we?
Yes, we do. And I wanted to do something different with my alien encounter. So these two kids are trying to help the aliens get back home.
Sort of a bit like you're going to be in the poo, yeah, we're going to be in the poo too.
Well, more or less, yes.
Yeah, it's a lovely idea. I looked at that. Of all the books that Teena Raffa-Mulligan has written, the UFO Effect stuck out to me, and there we go. It's a children's book and one of many books that Teena has on offer. Teena, thank you so much for giving us your time. It's much appreciated.
You're welcome.
This excerpt was convenient after the interview with Chris. Trust me, we weren't that organised.
Briefly, The UFO Effect is a middle-grade alien encounter novel about a boy who finds a strange object at the local quarry after a neighbour reports being chased by a flying saucer. Callum takes the object home to study it and begins to change colour. Starting with his toes, a bright mulberry stain creeps up his body. Mum mustn't find out or he won't get to attend his first ever school camp. Life becomes weirder still when the odd girl from school starts reading his mind, and the object's owners seek help from them both to return to their home planet. Available from various online retailers. Extract 1. Anticipation sizzled through Callum as he shifted his hand to the right front corner of his hiding space where he'd placed his discovery the previous afternoon. There was empty space where it should have been. Flattening himself lower to the carpet, he inched closer to the cupboard till his shoulder was butted right up against the door. He pushed his arm in as far as it would go and felt around. Nothing. An empty feeling settled in his stomach. Puzzled, he stopped searching and rested his cheek against the carpet, thinking. He hadn't managed it. He had found a strange object at the quarry after school. He'd brought it home, felt the weight of it in his backpack, hidden it so Mum wouldn't find it and make him get rid of it. Yet now it was gone. Would the aliens have transported it back to their spacecraft while he was sleeping? It was a mystery, but lying on his bedroom floor with one arm stuck under the cupboard wasn't going to solve it. Before Callum could withdraw his arm, it began to tremble and then shake crazily. A buzzing sound filled his ears and his eyelids refused to stay open. Starting from his toes, a feeling of summer day warmth spread throughout his whole body, and he felt as if his body was about to lift off the ground and go into orbit. Something nudged at his fingers, and as if they had a mind of their own, they closed around it. As suddenly as it had started, the crazy shaking stopped. So did the buzzing, but the feeling of warmth stayed. Callum quite liked it. Keeping his eyes closed, he slowly and carefully inched away from the cupboard. As soon as his arm was out, he rolled over, sat up, opened his eyes and stared at his hand, which was fisted around something. Callum sucked in a breath. It must be the alien object. How had it been gone 1 minute and there the next? And he hadn't found it. It had found him. What would it do next? There was only one way to find out. He uncurled his fingers around it. The object looked much as it had the day before. He sat with it in his hand and watched it for a full 5 minutes, but it didn't do anything else amazing. He held it up in the light from the window. The new day's sun polished its strange dull colour to a sheen of shifting brilliance. "Wow," he breathed. Turning it to catch the play of light, Callum brought it closer. Something about it was different. It still looked like metal and felt like jelly, but it smelled like, Callum sniffed thoughtfully, not peppermint. What? He frowned and sniffed again. Pepper. Freshly ground pepper. Callum held back a sneeze. And the smell wasn't the only thing about it. He swapped the object from hand to hand. He was sure it had been bigger and heavier last night. Was that possible? For an alien object, maybe? He'd better start a scientific study to keep track of any changes. It would be excellent practice for a one-day scientist. Extract 2. Had things got worse? He pulled off his t-shirt and dragged down his jeans. He knew at once he'd been right to worry. The colour had spread from his knees to his thighs. It was a terrible creeping disease. Callum sat on the tiles in his underdacks with his back against the bathroom door and his fist in his mouth to block off the sobs. He'd been able to ignore mulberry-coloured toes. Mulberry feet hadn't worried him much. If it had stopped there, but it hadn't. And the scariest thing was that he was now changing colour faster. When would it stop? Was he going to change colour completely? Callum stood up and studied what he could see of himself in the mirror above the vanity unit. Normal. He stretched this way and that. His body still moved the way it always had. Suddenly, he had an awful thought. He could see what was happening on his outsides. What about his insides? Were they mulberry too? Or was something far worse happening to them? He opened his mouth wide and peered into it. What he could see looked okay, but without special equipment, there was no way to tell. He didn't feel sick. That must be a good sign. And nothing hurt. He poked and prodded himself all over to make sure. Nope, all good. But that didn't mean whatever was happening to him wasn't fatal. Maybe once he turned completely mulberry, his life would be over. That thought opened a gigantic pit of emptiness in his stomach. He sucked in a breath and hugged himself tight. How much time did he have? He had to come up with a solution. But what?
The UFO effect sounds like quite the adventure. My first takeaway was from her sentiment on resilience, saying that it doesn't matter what creative journey you are on, you will experience doubt, rejection and upset, but if you are resilient, you will see it through. My second takeaway was her discussion on the changes in publishing over the last 50 years. I actually have a typewriter and use it for funsies sometimes, but having to use it all the time would be a completely different story. My third takeaway was how it is still a thrill to see her book in bookstores, even now. What were your key takeaways? If you'd like to carry on the conversation with Teena, then she has a website, teenaraffa-mulligan.com. She's also on Facebook and has a blog in their own right, .wordpress.com, and has a podcast called Not the Plot. All the contact details are in the show notes, along with her book information. In the next special episode, you will hear from Paul Hewer. If you are enjoying the show and would like to show some support, then please subscribe and share these episodes with a friend. Or if you want to go the next step, you can buy us a cuppa. Head on over to ko-fi.com/findingalara. That's ko-fi.com/findingalara. There is an option for you to buy us a cup of tea for $2, or you can join the Shadow Lair for $5 a month, where you receive exclusive content and advanced information about the show. If you would like to get in touch with myself or the team at Bushland Castle Productions, then I'm on Instagram and TikTok as @FindingAlara. There is a Discord channel and Facebook group called Finding Alara Podcast. The Bushland Castle Productions team are on Facebook, Instagram and Discord as BCP Creative. Or you can check out the website bushlandcastleproductions.com for the most up-to-date information. If you'd like to get in touch with Chris, then he is on Facebook as Chris Ilsley, and if you want to talk to Paul, then he's on Facebook as Paul Vandermeer, and has his own podcast, Forest.chat. The music is brought to you by @KeysOfMoon Music and is called The Epic Hero. If you enjoyed listening to Finding Alara, have any questions, or just want to share your world with us, then please get in touch. Until next time, keep up the search for your Alara.